assume so.
Oh, yeah.
Ready
I
to,
just read this.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the City Council meeting for October 10th, 2023. You all please stand for the pledge. Clerk, take roll call.
Councilman Gary Donovan,
Councilman Gary Donovan, Councilman at Large, present.
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor,
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor, Council at Large. Here.
Councilman Ronald Quagliani,
Ron Quagliani, Council at Large, here.
Councilwoman Bridget Hosky, Councilwoman Melly Garthwaite, I believe is on her way, Councilwoman Sarah Akbarali,
Councilwoman Sarah Akbarali, 3rd District, present.
Councilman Mitchell Galignano,
Councilman Mitchell Galignano, 4th District, present.
Councilwoman Robin Watt Hamilton,
Councilwoman Robin Watt Hamilton, 5th District.
Councilwoman Catherine Tucker,
Councilwoman Catherine Tucker, 7th District, present.
Councilman Victor Boris,
Councilman Victor Boris, 8th District, present.
Councilman Robert Bruno,
Councilman Robert Burrow, 9th District, present.
Councilman Stephen Johnstone,
Councilman Stephen Johnstone, 10th District present.
and Chairman Peter Massaro.
And Chairman Peter Massaro, President, 6th District Councilman. And at this time, we're going to hand over the meeting to the Public Lands, Councilman Donovan.
Thank you, Chairman. Time is now 6:55. We're having a public hearing on Communication D from September 25th, 2023 agenda for Michaelgello Department, Deputy Corporation Counsel regarding the potential sale, lease, or transfer of 15 Lake Avenue. Does anyone from the public like to speak on that? For a second time, does anyone from the public? Yes. ma'am. Just come up, your name and address. Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Naza Bangu. I am at 19 Lake Ave. And so I am the one interested in purchasing the land. I would like to have a backyard for this little one. I don't have a backyard, although this would be a side yard. I have been taking care of this land for 4.5 years now, since 2019, when I moved to West Haven. And so I would just like to take over. And it would, allow me to do all the maintenance, take care of it, and I have no objection to the easement. And whenever the city needs to come in and take care of the creek, which actually does need some work since the storm a couple of years ago, so I'm willing to corroborate with like whatever guidelines you might need, just so that I can proceed with this purchase.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else from the public like to speak on this? Second time, anybody else on the public like to speak on this matter? Third and final time? Seeing none, public session on this is closed. The time is now 6:58.
Thank you, Councilman Donovan. Before we get into public session, I'd like to make a change.
We have to wait till 7.
Oh,
We have to wait two more minutes.
2 more minutes.
Sorry, one more minute.
Back in session. I'd like to make a motion to change Communication B, the scheduled executive session, right after public session. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Now we're open for public session. Skip.
Chairman Massaro, members of the council, my name is Vincent Falcone. I practice law in this city, and I have been a resident of this city for my entire life.
Skip, your address, please. Your address, please.
I live at 648 Ocean Avenue. I practice at 334 Main Street.
Thank you.
I am representing, as an attorney, I'm representing Shell and Bones Oyster Bar and Grill in New Haven. As a resident, I'm speaking for myself. For the past several months, we have followed the reported machinations between NEBCO and the city of West Haven in respect to the conference center. NEBCO had said it was bringing a brewery to West Haven. That did not happen. On September 6th, the New Haven Register reported that the New England Brewing Company dropped its plans to relocate a brewery to West Haven. In fact, NEBCO declined to discuss the details of their future plans at all and did not provide any additional comment besides saying, and I quote, "The brewery's Plan B does not concern West Haven." As late as October 6th, Mayor Rossi reported to the Register, and I quote, "Right now, we are really concentrating on the brewery, and we are looking forward to moving forward with the brewery." Now it appears that the goalposts have once again been moved, and NEBCO, contrary to what they have reported to the newspaper, is proposing a new Plan B to West Haven after saying that their Plan B didn't concern us. In pure and simple terms, what is their new Plan B? What are they trying to bring to us, if not a brewery? And what will they pay for the ground lease? On October 3rd, my client provided the city with a detailed letter of intent, which was hand-carried to City Hall and addressed to every council member and the mayor, indicating my client's specific intentions. That was 3 days before any public funds from the state became available. The LOI included moving Shell and Bones to West Haven, offering a 60-year ground lease at an annual rent of $100,000 to be increased by 10% every 10 years, to pay real estate taxes not to exceed $100,000, to do a total renovation of the site, seeking no public money, making a $2 million cash injection of their own money, and bringing in a rotating staff of 100 to the city. As I said in my opening, I am a lifelong resident of this town, and as a citizen, I would like to see full transparency and full disclosure of the so-called new Plan B. It appears it is something less than a brewery. I've heard the word tap room. If so, what are the details? What is the lease term they are offering? What is the monthly and yearly rent? And what is their offer on taxes? This all needs to be disclosed to our citizens before the council ever discusses whether or not to accept their proposal, as this is not what was originally presented to us. There's no sound reason to keep the information from the public. There seems to be a lot of confusion in social media, and people have begun taking sides. This can be cleared up if we have full disclosure and transparency. The council can decide if NEBCO's new Plan B is the best interest of the citizens of West Haven, now and for the foreseeable future. And I must emphasize, what's the rush? There should be no rush. Why? Because we're not talking 5, 10, 15 years. We're talking decades. And because generations of West Haveners must live with the decisions to be made. I urge the council to make the best decision and not the fastest one. Thank you for your time and for your attention.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to come up and address the council? Yes.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Dominic Konoweski. My address is 113 Fenwick Street. I am here to address the council tonight on the issue regarding Quigley Memorial Stadium located on 362 Front Ave, West Haven. I am an independent journalist with the New York Sports Show, and I have been doing an article on Quigley Stadium for the last several months. And by doing that article, I have uncovered an amazing amount of information that truly shows the neglect that West Haven has given to that stadium. I took a personal visit there several days ago myself. I was able to get in easily, even though it was supposedly closed, because all the gates were left open. And stepping foot inside Quigley Stadium, I saw a field of broken dreams. It was an absolute wreck, in my opinion. You have graffiti on the press box. You have dugout seats taken out. You have so much overgrown shrubbery to where the foul pole is almost non-existent. It's absolutely disgusting, in my opinion, and goes to show the sheer incompetence taken by the city of West Haven and West Haven Public Works in their absolute failure to keep up with this stadium. In 1988, to be fully correct, October 16th, 1988, the New York Times published an article, said, the stadium in West Haven held between two visions. That was almost 35 years ago to the day. I took some quotes out of that 1988 New York Times article. One quote put it as West Haven's most famous landmark. Now, folks, you look at that stadium today, you wouldn't even be able to tell that it holds baseball games. Currently only holds the West Haven Twilight League. Why? Because Notre Dame West Haven had to play at West Haven High School because the netting could not be kept up with and balls were hit in the houses. When talking with Public Works officials, they were complaining that the residents were complaining that baseballs were hit in their houses. Well, I feel like they have the right to complain as they are tax-paying residents. And it also says in the article that the town no longer maintains it. Now, let me remind you, that article is from 1988. People were saying in 1988, West Haven no longer maintains it. So with that, seeing the state of the stadium now, and also looking back at the article where Mayor Guerra said, quote, the stadium loses $75,000 a year, and that it has cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. That was in 1988. What is the stadium costing taxpayers now? What is West Haven's plans with Quigley Stadium now? Because I tell you, it looks like it is going to go into absolute disarray. That's how it looks right now. It looks abandoned when you drive by it. It's absolutely disgusting. You have dumping there, you have holes, and as I mentioned, graffiti and overgrown shrubbery. In my opinion, it should become some form of historical site. Imagine the concerts that could be held there. Imagine bringing other baseball leagues there. West Haven, at least to my knowledge, has no baseball league that the youth could do 13 and up. I had to go to East Haven for the last 5 years to play baseball because West Haven has nothing past the ages 13, 14, unless you want to spend upwards of $500 to get on some kind of travel league team. It's not right to the people of West Haven. Everyone's talking about the brewery. You can't bring a 5-year-old to a brewery. What you could do is bring a 5-year-old to a baseball game, though. And it should 100% be a historical site. One of the eligibility criteria for it to be a historical site is, quote, this says it on the Connecticut website, to be associated with events that have made a significant contribution to history in the lives of persons significant in or past. Well, when the West Haven Yankees played at Quigley Stadium, they were winners of not one, not two, but 4 Eastern League championships. You have the West Haven Yankees play there, West Haven Whitecaps, West Haven A's. There's so much baseball history in that stadium, and it needs to be preserved. The Allentown area of West Haven has been neglected for far too long, and that's a big factor, that stadium right there, And that changes, I guarantee you, all of Allentown will change with that. And I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to come up and address the council? Would anybody else like to come up and address the council? Final time, would anybody else like to come up and address the council? Public session is closed.
Well, there's somebody back there.
Where? Oh,
I just have a question.
Well, can you,
you gotta come up.
Do they know that we're in
Just
the,
hoping I'm in the right forum, but I'm gonna ask
I
a couple
don't think
questions.
that they know we're in the regular meeting.
I know you guys don't answer questions, I get it, but
Here's the story. I live 327 Washington Avenue, Thomas A. Scarappa. 38 years, West Haven. Could be a thorn in everybody's side, I don't know. Here's what I want to ask. I think I finally found out what's wrong with West Haven. It's not that we're not trying, it's not that we're not doing things. We're not following up on what we do. Let me state a couple things. I think the West Haven High School was refurbished, I guess they call it, modified, modernized nation or whatever, in record time. I was actually impressed by how fast they did it and how good it came out. I have a school right behind my house, Washington Magnet School. They said they wanted to lower it to make it for handicapped people. They wanted to spread it out to use the land better, make the traffic a lot easier. And they said it was gonna start. They let the kids out, they moved the kids from there to other schools because they wanted to start it last year. Well, I'm here to tell you today, nothing has been started there. My question to the council is, I want to know who in West Haven follows up on stuff like that. Because to me, I don't think anybody. It's supposed to be done the 2024. I'll bet you it's not going to be done in 2026 because nobody's even doing anything. And like I said, the question to the council will be not that are we doing good stuff. Who follows up on that? I don't think anybody is. That's it.
Thank you.
So I have two letters that came in from.
Oh.
If no one else is coming up.
Anybody else like to come up and address the council?
Rich Deso, 200 Oak Street, apartment 111. Many of you know that we have been trying to have a veterans concert fundraiser this last couple of weeks. Rain, but between the Fire Expo and the concert that happened this past Sunday, I want to thank City of West Haven for help sponsoring this and combining it with the Fire Expo, public safety. And for this, we raised funds of $2,200 just for this little bit of sponsorship and everything throughout the community. So that's going to be split up between Surfside Veterans, Veterans, West Haven Veterans Council, and the museum. So that little bit counts, and every little bit counts. So, and I see it going further in the future. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Rick. Anybody else like to come up and address the council? Second time. Anybody else like to come up and address the council?
I just have these two.
We have two letters to read.
The first one is from Peter and Kathy Lombardozzi, 74 Leach Street. As a citizen of West Haven, Westie for over 30 years, I have witnessed the deterioration of the town. The Havens is a slum, unsightly, and going nowhere. The center is blight, abandoned storefronts, and not appealing at all. My family, friends, and social circle are all in agreement and support the lease agreement and support Nevco Brewery at 6 Rock Street. We are unable to attend, so please add this support letter to the meeting notices, docs, etc. Thank you. Please acknowledge receipt. And then I have the next one is from Paul Frozalone at 19 Bloom Street, West Haven. Due to a prior commitment, I cannot attend this evening's meeting, so I would like this email to be read during public comment session at tonight's City Council meeting, October 10th, 2023. The memorandum of understanding between Eclipse Development Group LLC and the City of West Haven was signed on April 13th, 2022. It expired on April 13th, 2023, according to the terms of the MOU. This MOU shall be effective as of the effective date and shall continue in full force and effect for a period of 365 calendar days. Initial term, whereupon this MOU shall automatically terminate and be null and void and of no further force and effect without the need for any notice or any other instrument or of termination, the expiration date, unless the parties agree to extend the term for a 90-day period beyond the initial term. Such extension shall be limited to 2 extensions not to exceed 180 days in total. If the April 13th, 2022 was extended, then the last day to sign an agreement would be today, October 10th, 2023, as it is 180 days after April 13th, 2023. The lease agreement cannot be signed without public hearing to follow on October 17th, 2023. That day brings us to 187 days past the initial MOU signed, so therefore this deal between the City of West Haven and the Eclipse Development Group is now null and void. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you, Stacy.
And that's all the letters that came in, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else like to come up and address the council? Would anybody else like to come up and address the council? Third and final time, anybody else like to address the council? Public session is closed at 7:16. Okay, we're gonna inform everybody, we're going to an executive session right now. So everybody has to have to leave, so we can have an executive session at this moment. On the, approve the minutes of, September 25th.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? One abstention. Mitch? Motion passes by majority.
I'll read the communications, sure. Okay, we have before us Communication A from the tax collector regarding overpayment refunds for October 2023, which will be filed with tonight's minutes. We have Communication B from Mayor Nancy R. Rossi regarding the appointment of Rosa Richardson, 95 West Prospect Street, West Haven, to the Board of Education. Ms. Richardson's appointment replaces Jennifer Frost and would become effective immediately and expire on December 7th, 2025, being assigned to the Personnel and Civil Service Committee, Chairman Quagliani. Communication C from Mayor Nancy R. Rossi regarding the appointment of Carol Soder, 45 Third Avenue Extension, West Haven, to the Flood and Erosion Control Board. Ms. Soder's appointment would replace Charles Gunning and become effective immediately and expire on November 24th, 2025, being assigned to the Personnel and Civil Service Committee, Chairman Quagliani. We have Communication D, which is being withdrawn. And we have Communication E from West Haven Board of Police Commissioners regarding the employment agreement between the City of West Haven and the Chief of Police, Joseph Perno, for the approval to sign the agreement, being assigned to the Finance Committee, Chairwoman Hosky. And that concludes our communications for this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Stacy.
You're
Thank
welcome. You're welcome.
you. And we'll take it to the Finance Department. Councilwoman Hosky.
Committee is in session with council members O'Connor, Quagliani, Akbarali, Hamilton, and myself acting as chairwoman. The first is Mr. Taylor, your year-to-date budget review. I know you put everything out on the table. I don't know if anyone has any questions or anything that they'd like to address with Mr. Taylor. Going once, going twice. Mr. Taylor, you're good. I do want to ask about the MARB meeting. Any update on the West Haven PD pension and where that's going?
It will be brought up on, hi, everybody.
I'm sorry, tell me again?
I'm just saying hello.
Oh, hello, I'm sorry.
I just, a note that it said ARPA ahead of this in the agenda, but I imagine I missed when you changed that, but that's okay.
Oh, yes, we didn't do ARPA is before this.
I know. It's all right. Go ahead.
Okay,
We'll get to it.
yes.
sorry.
So, the MARB has not met. There's been a succession of postponements and reschedules for the last several weeks. Our meeting is now scheduled for Tuesday morning in Hartford. And
The 17th?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Nobody likes to be called that anymore. Anyway, so at that time, the pension plan is on the docket.
Excellent.
And there have been invited speakers from the union as well as the city who are all intending to be there.
Perfect, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay, so Communication C, we're gonna be holding this evening. I'd like to bring out Communication E with regards to the employment agreement between the City of West Haven and Chief Perno.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chairman, would you like to come up and speak on behalf of your agreement?
I'll bring up Attorney Chris Henderson with us.
Of course, City Attorney.
How are you?
I'm right as rain.
Phenomenal.
Good evening, Chris Henderson. I'm an attorney at Bertram Moses, outside labor counsel for the city. So before you have the employment agreement, if you have questions, I can answer them. I can walk through the salient terms if that's what the council wishes, but whatever you need me to do, happy to do it.
your chairman would like us to be very concise and just vote it, and he's not looking to say a word.
I will.
Okay, well, go right ahead. We want to hear what you have to say about
This
it.
council has been phenomenal to the police department. You able to give us the raises we asked for. You worked tirelessly for the pension, and now we have one final thing is we want to keep the leader in charge because I think this department has finally rounded the bend and there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I need to secure my leader. Right now, the chief we've been going back and forth with the contract for close to 10 months now. He's at the top of his pension right now, so he basically makes about $200 a week. If you take away the pension, what he would make. So I don't want to lose him. So I'd like to lock him in, finalize the whole police, and then we can move on from there.
You know, I'm a very big fan of your chief. I consider him my chief too.
As all of our department is also, and as well as the commission.
C1. It's a fancy name. Are there any questions to Councilwoman?
I have to ask, because I'm the one that goes up to Hartford. Chief, you know how I feel. I love you and you deserve twice what's in this contract. But
We can change it if you want.
will this pass MARB? Is there anything in here that they can question? And that might be a question for David or Ricky.
We question everything.
I don't-
How much has it changed, how much has it changed from his last contract?
The money stays the same. What it really is instead of putting into the pension each week, pension puts aside, so there's no really extra cost to the city at all. The pension that he would be getting is put aside till the end, and he gets it as a lump sum.
Yeah, it would be a negligible cost. I think what's in there, the retirement piece, the drop plan that you might, is kind of mutually beneficial to both the employee, because they get a lump sum at the end of the drop period. And it's beneficial to the city from a financial standpoint, is that it stops the pension. The years of service don't go back, don't factor into the calculation. So it stops it, you know, as of October 15th, when this agreement comes in place. And then he gets the benefit 5 years down the road. I don't think, you know, in our experience with Marv and my firm's experience with Marv, that there's anything in here that's so atypical that would pose a problem. But as David points out, they have the right to question everything.
I would say that, I'm sorry, okay? The pension plan that we presented for the police, it contains a drop plan. Unfortunately, you know, this may spark conversation and could go negative on this. But I don't know why it would. To me, it's cost neutral, as he said, it really is. And it makes a lot of sense. It preserves leadership. There are so many good things about this that they really should take it. I mean, it's bargained separately, as it should.
Okay, I agree with everything you said. One of the things the MARB did complain about with the police pension was they didn't have a pension, the old pension, and then things crossed out what was changed. Can we have a copy of the old contract with the things crossed out that were changed, just in case they want to see that by Tuesday?
It won't be it's not on the agenda for Tuesday. And since it's a special meeting on Tuesday, it will not be seen by the month on Tuesday.
Okay.
But I wouldn't, like, if I could have, some comparatives to other police departments, what they've done. They will also ask for.
Yeah.
Can you speak
we
to
can
that?
supply that.
I'm sure you
We have a lot of records that would show the comparison that we can use.
Awesome.
CCM?
Yeah, CCM would probably.
CCM, can we, I think it would, because our chief is not getting rich off the job. I'm sure if you actually divide the amount of money he makes between the hours that he works, he's probably making $200 a week. I mean, honestly, it's,
That's the joys of public service. right?
No, definitely.
You said it before, mathematically, if he were to retire, he'd get $200 less a week.
And that's where these drop plan ideas are coming from. It's not new, but it's gaining more traction. because for those that are maxed out at the pension, they're losing money, but the employer may want to retain them. They want them to retire but keep working, and that's the benefit of a plan like that. That's covered in this agreement.
You answered my questions, thank you.
Councilman?
Mr. Chairman, how you doing?
Good, how are you, sir?
Good, good. So, my understanding is these are the benefits. They may have been 2 or 3 different documents. One, I think, is a council resolution, one is, the budget book, one is other documents, and all of that is just codified into this agreement, right? This is the same, there's no additional money.
Nope.
Right, there's no additional, holidays or sick time. It's all what the chief currently enjoys, it's just we're codifying it into an employment contract.
Correct.
Right, so the purpose of transparency, this is just for the current chief of police. There's no benefit to any retiree
No,
from this.
this is the current police chief.
Okay, all right, good. That's all I want. Thank you.
Sorry.
Any other questions? Any questions from, council members outside the? All those in favor?
Hi.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries, C1.
Thank you very much, everyone.
And your committee on finance is closed at 8:19. How was that?
Thank you, Councilman Bronski. Sorry, we'll go to council as a whole with the ARPA. Ken? It's all yours.
Thank you. Does anyone need a book? I emailed everybody. Do you have them?
We have
Yeah.
one.
You got them?
They're in the packet.
Everyone has one?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, just a couple quick updates, and I want to talk about the proposed motions. Number one, on the arts money, we think we found a path to spend that money on West Haven artists. We have a New Haven group that is a 501c3. We've met with them, we've met with Eleanor. We all agree on a path moving forward, and it meets all the ARPA rules and regulations. So I'm very confident that that's gonna unfold in a favorable way, for $425,000, not a $500,000. They asked for $425,000. We went over the budget, and $425,000 is appropriate.
Can I ask a question on that? So I was looking at the budget breakdown, and I was curious, I think it was 24,000 that they would be, that they're gonna hire an auditor or an accountant. Why would they need that if part of ARPA and what we're spending money on?
Good question.
I just,
They don't need it, and that's out.
oh, okay,
So,
cause yeah.
There's a new budget coming out. It's 4 lines, not 2 pages. It wasn't an easy application to fill out, but we all have the same goal in mind.
Right.
And after an hour and a half meeting, we rearrange where the money's going. I think it comes out to 84% goes to actual artists and activities. 16% or less is now soft costs. But I'll bring that back before the
No,
council.
perfect. I was
Yeah.
just.
You're 100% right.
Literally, I was
Yeah.
like, why are we paying an auditor? Thank you.
Next quick update, there is a, oh, sure, yeah.
Quick question with the artist. We're giving them money, that's great, but we're doing that. Say 6 months,
Yeah.
they don't
Sure.
produce, nothing comes out of this,
Yeah.
what happens?
Councilman Dunn was a good point. He was actually at the meeting with us. So we implemented a 6-month clause. If we do not see activity and a drawdown of funds per, that follow the ARPA rules, we're gonna reevaluate in 6 months. So we're giving them 6 months to begin funding their programs.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Next, I've got the camera project. The pre-construction meeting with the vendors is this Thursday at 10 a.m. on site. And that job will begin in October. I shared with the chief that we are under budget by about $550,000, and that another area will have to be chosen to continue spending that money. Okay. The next one I have for you is drainage. I'm meeting, I believe it is on Tuesday of next week at 2 o'clock in my office
with CDM Smith representatives, Abdul, and the contractor who's out doing the catch basins. I'll email that meeting to the council in case any council people want to come. I'm gonna bring them over to Dick Street and Cove River, a couple issues that come up with flooding, and I'll be able to give you a clearer report as to where we are and what's going on. And I should have my hands on the full report come Tuesday. So my next time before the council, I'll have a much more detailed report for you. And any council person that wants to come to the meeting, you're certainly welcome to come. I'll email it out to you. And the last one before I go to the packet is the field. If you haven't had a chance, take a ride over to the West Haven High School field. It is absolutely gorgeous. The field itself is complete. We're working on the track now. We expect the track to be done by the 19th. The softball field is being completely reconstructed. They're moving the dugouts, they're moving the stands, they're putting in new fencing. It's absolutely an incredible sight when you see it all. I encourage you to go take a look. Looks very good. All right.
Just to go back on your drainage meeting, and I don't know if that's an appropriate time to do it, but I know the state delegation, Dorinda Border and Trinae McGee, you know, they've talked about securing us funding. I don't know if it makes sense to invite them.
Sure.
I would just want them to be at the table because I know Dorinda has said many, many times she needed this reporting to go after money at the state to help. So I just would love to include them if possible and
Yeah,
let them
I think
say
you're
no.
100% correct. Yeah,
Okay,
and they'll
thank
come
you
too.
so much.
Yep, that's an excellent idea. All right, moving on to the packet. So there's 3 resolutions that we feel are important that we're asking the council tonight. Number 1 is Kerrigan School. So the $800,000 that you've allocated for the business program has seen about $310,000 in requests and not much more. We've extended the application. We're not gonna hit $800,000. We're asking that the council consider taking $165 from that $800,000. We go to Kerrigan, we give you pickleball courts, we give you basketball courts, and we completely revamp the play area that is really unsafe to play in right now. If you go to page 1, you can see the cracks that exist in these surfaces. These are beyond repair. You're not gonna go out there with some tar and patch that. We have fence posts that the footings have dislodged from the ground, not safe. The fence is rusty. If a kid hits that and gets cut, there's a problem. The surface is worn off, and it really is an important area that cannot be utilized by the 5th and 6th graders that go to that school. If you go to page 6, here's the proposal, 164-104. Went through the proper procurement procedures. And this gives us pickleball, basketball, a complete rebuild, fencing, nets, hoops, asphalt, grading, everything that we need to reactivate that area. And on page 7 is the actual resolution written by the ARPA attorneys for your consideration.
I'm super excited. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Everyone at the Board of Ed thanks you as well.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes.
To bring this out favorably.
So I second it. All those in favor? No, I'm just.
Yeah.
I know, Stacy, it's terrible.
Stacy, what?
Could,
Any discussion?
I,
What's mine?
can I,
No. Do you want it read the way you have it written?
Unless you see something wrong with it, yes, into the record.
Would you like me to read it?
Please.
No, he has the whole thing written. I'm just gonna read this section. I'm not gonna.
ask a clarifying question, because of my curiosity. I just want to make sure that I understand.
Sure.
So the area, I don't know if anyone has gone to Kerrigan to look at the area that I was talking about the last time we've met. Is it just that basketball area, or are you? Because I don't see the plans, and I'm just very curious because there's a lot of kids that go to that school, and when I went over there and I talked to some of the teachers that work there, are we expanding it? Like, are we moving out into where the baseball and softball fields are? Like, where's pickleball going?
So right now, if you go behind the school, and you're standing at the new garage that we built recently with ESSER funds, and you look over to what used to be this playscape, it is about a third short of what we need to do pickleball and basketball. So that's gonna come towards where you're standing, which is towards the road that you drove in on to go see that. So the answer is, it's probably another 50 feet, 60 feet. Yeah, and there will be a plan. I mean, the plan costs money, so we haven't spent that yet, but there will be a plan that, will approve.
Yeah, I was just curious, cause I was like, I know the size of it, I'm like, where's all of this going? And I know I don't, so this, I'm just curious, so when this is done, and Kerrigan has recess or gym, what is the actual, like each room has a capacity limit, like what's the capacity for this?
Sure, so you bring up a couple points. I'll answer that question in a moment. This becomes, like Bailey, a playscape. You take the nets down, and it becomes another classroom. So an entire gym can play there, multiple classrooms can play there at once, but it becomes like another gym. And you could fit easily 100 kids out there with no problem. So it's very versatile. You don't have to use it as pickleball and basketball. It could be kickball, it could be,
Right, because that's what I was
exercises.
thinking, like,
Yeah.
you're speaking to some people who like certain sports, but what about the kids who like dodgeball?
Exactly.
Aggressive. But they play dodgeball and all those other, and I was just wanting to make sure if there's a way, because I know when you go into West Haven High, they have volleyball. You would never even know that you could play volleyball in there. How does that happen? Well, because it's all in the floor and you build these things. So I was just curious if it had that same type of versatility.
It's a classroom first and a playscape second.
Okay, thank you. I'm excited. Yes, let's read it. No.
So it would be for Carrigan School recreation areas. $165,000 is appropriated. Actually, it's resolved that the city council hereby appropriates funding for the following projects. Carrigan School recreation areas. $165,000 is appropriated for renovation and reconstruction of recreation areas at Carrigan School. In particular, installation of 2 basketball courts and 2 pickleball courts and fencing surrounding the court areas. This project shall be funded with funds transferred from $800,000 previously appropriated for the Aid to Small Business Project, which is project number 2023-015, reducing the total appropriation for project number 2023-015 to $635,000. And that motion was made by Councilwoman Hamilton and seconded by Councilwoman Hosky.
Any discussion?
I want to thank Councilwoman Hosky for really pushing this through, because all the children, citywide go there, and they do deserve the best. So again, thank you very much for pushing it.
Thank you. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes by majority. Go ahead, Kim.
Okay, thank you very much for that. The second motion is in reference to UHY. And I spent some time putting this packet together. I worked with Dave, who did some final editing on it. And the original contract with UHY did not require that they review every single invoice. That is a request that was made back in December by the ARPA committee, because we had people in City Hall who were spending ARPA funds without going through the proper process. So by making a third party in charge of that, that stopped that. One of the aggravations, if you will, is in the early days, every time I asked somebody to pay this bill, I was introduced with a new rule or a new regulation. Nobody was getting paid. So if you go to page 11, we came up with the idea of capturing every possible rule and regulation, and we created this checklist. And when this checklist is filled out, the invoice meets every possible ARPA rule and regulation. The checklist was handled by UHY and taught to the people in City Hall who are doing this now. And we reached a point where we are paying both parties to do the same checklist. One party's getting paid between $175 and $400 an hour, but it's worse than that. Many times these checklists happen on a Zoom meeting, and we're getting 2 and 3 employees from UHY talking to our employees. I shouldn't say employees, they're contractors? Contractors. So now I'm paying $800-900 out of the ARPA fund to review invoices that are going to be reviewed anyway on a quarterly basis by UHY when they submit their report to Treasury. We actually had the head guy from UHY come in here and say, stop paying us to do this. Now, at this point in time, we have spent 75% of the management funds. If this resolution doesn't pass, I'm gonna run out of money to pay management funds, and I can't pay an invoice without this resolution unless I pay UHY to review the invoice, which means nobody's getting paid, unless I get a lot more money. So we're asking that we let one party, the less expensive party, the one that we have more control over, in City Hall, the one who are more available and are dedicated full-time to this checklist, to do the checklist, and that's what this motion represents. I wrote the rationale on page 10. On page 11, you have the vendor checklist. On page 12, you've got the actual invoice checklist. On page 13, I've highlighted the fees that we're paying versus the $75 that we're paying Robert Half for the outside contractor. And on page 14, I have the requested motion.
Ken, I have one question. If we eliminate, is there any way UHY is still gonna oversee some of these things? You know, I have to say that we had problems here. And this is a lot of money, and I know it's on your back too. It's just that we wanna be very careful where this money's going. And we wanna make sure every dollar is spent where it's supposed to go. So by eliminating this individual, how much are we losing as far as somebody overseeing this money?
So I would say you're not eliminating the individual. You're reducing their workload, right? UHY is still fully engaged in every invoice every 3 months because they need them to do the quarterly reports. UHY attends a weekly meeting where we review all ARPA activities. UHY reviews every ARPA contract, every subrecipient agreement, every question from the subrecipients. UHY answers. My inbox is filled up with emails from the in-house contractors who say, Ken, I can't read the certificate of insurance. I need to get another one. Or Ken, we still need this, we still need that. They're all over it. And at the end of the day, UHY still sees it. We would not have asked for UHY to be in this level of involvement had we not had the problems we had in the beginning. Those problems are long gone. We have good people in place who are doing the job and doing it well. And to pay 2 groups to do it doesn't make any sense. They're still fully engaged.
If you'd like me to add, once this contract person fills all this, so first of all, very important to note, UHY is still reviewing contracts. Still reviewing the checklist that Ken mentioned on page 11, they're still reviewing that. What we're eliminating is their review on page 12. Additionally, before anything goes out the door, I review one-on-one with this contractor every single one of these and sign off on it. Ken sends us a list from the ARPA committee with, saying that they've all approved this. And at the bottom, there's a place for me to sign. I don't sign that until I've reviewed and made sure everything is there. So we have added some additional checks on our side to make sure that, this money is spent properly.
It's also worth noting that every invoice we approve is in public, recorded, and broadcast. We don't allow a single invoice to hit his desk for consideration unless it's actually approved at a public meeting that's taped.
Anybody else? Yeah.
I'd just like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that all invoices shall be submitted to the chairman of the ARPA committee for preliminary review. Invoices that pass preliminary review by the chairman shall then be submitted to the ARPA committee for further, full review, consideration, discussion, and possible approval. All invoices approved and recommended for payment by vote of the ARPA committee to be paid from ARPA funds shall be submitted as expended, well, you had to put that word in, as expenditually, is that correct? Expeditiously, sorry, as possible to the finance director, City of West Haven, for processing and payment from ARPA funds. All invoices approved and recommended for payment by the ARPA committee shall, prior to processing and payment, first be reviewed by a responsible City of West Haven designated by the finance director for compliance with the ARPA invoice checklist. If the applicable ARPA invoice checklist requirements are satisfied, the invoice shall be processed, paid as expeditiously as possible. UHY Consulting Incorporated, consultants to the ARPA committee will continue to advise as necessary and requested on any questions of compliance. Should I read it?
Can I hear a second?
Second.
Any more discussion?
So, Mr. Taylor, if you were out and you couldn't sign off, who is your second?
I will sign on.
Tell me again?
We won't pay the bill.
It wouldn't get paid until you came back?
Expeditiously, we'll need one more week.
Correct.
I like the sound of that. Mr. Spryer, what's your opinion?
I think we're paying two people to do the same job, and it's silly. I think this is a long time coming, and like Dave said, we put more controls in place now. Bills don't get paid. A letter comes from Ken, our office submits to AP goes over with Dave. There's steps, the steps to get someone paid in these processes are very detailed. And I think we're paying two people, one, a very hefty amount of money to do the same job.
It's also worth noting that when we asked in December for UHY to be filed, we didn't have a PO system. We have a PO system. These gentlemen have created a PO system that is really adhered to. Nobody gets paid without a PO around here. We didn't have that in December.
Can I? And so I'm gonna ask a question, and I'm not trying to upset anybody. I just know that I just want to know the answer publicly and on the record. From like when I look at City Hall and I look at Mr. Spryer and Mr. Taylor as our chief financial officers or something great like that. So when we say that and things have changed, and Ken, you're doing a fantastic job, and my intent is not to make you feel that you're not. My intent is to just relieve some of the uneasiness of the residents at home who think, if we really righted the corner, because not too long ago, people in the city were able to make a very substantial purchase, over 50 grand, and Mr. Spryer was not in the office, and things happened. Was that prior to December? Because sometimes things are just a blur. And I say this I just want to talk about the elephant in the room and just address it so that there's no question. So right now, even if you're saying it would wait for you to come back, and if nothing is happening anymore, there's no way it can go, none of those things can happen anymore. Can we turn that over there and get them on the record saying that? Because it's on me, so I just, you know what I mean? Because that is how I look at you two. Like, you two are really the face of our finances, and I just want people to be assured that
Do you have a little banner that runs from the bottom with his name on it?
So, yes, that is exactly what happens, and this is ARPA, right? So there's a little bit higher level of, hey, we've got new federal requirements. And frankly, we've learned a lot of federal requirements over the last several months, and so my grants team has really benefited from this. Not only do we go through that process, we've added another check on, or control, to every week when we go to pay invoices. I review every invoice that's going to be paid. Now, I don't look at every invoice, but I look at the list of invoices and amounts and vendors. And I will not haphazard, but judgmentally sample a number of them and review the provenance. So is it properly approved? Is it, is it an appropriate expense for the city? And sometimes I'll pull another, those ARPA ones as well. So the ARPA ones do get another check sometimes. But yeah, that's a process that we go through. I review that. I document approval of the list, that I've reviewed it and approved it. And then Michael Last also has a look at it, and he documents his approval of those invoices to be paid, which is, I think, just only right, because he and I have our signatures on the check. So,
Thank
you know, so
No, and I
we've done
appreciate
a
that.
lot to improve our process.
I appreciate that from both of you, and I just think it's important that people understand why we're voting the way we are is based off of your professional recommendation and your experience and your skill set and knowledge. So thank you both, Mrs. Fryer and Mr. Taylor. I'm good, thank you, sir.
Councilman Quagliani, do you have a question?
Go first.
Okay, thank you. Just really quick and for transparency, the person that's actually looking at the invoices is still really an employee of Robert Half, correct?
Yes, we
They have
contracted
no
with Robert
ties
Half.
to the city, they're no one's second cousin or best friend from high school. They have no reason to,
They are not. They don't live around, they don't live in our town. They commute to work every day, and she's very good at what she does.
thank you.
So so what's the backup? So I know what you do, I know what the employee does from Robert Half, I know what, Ricky does. So you, God forbid you're out for a month, right? Or what's the fail-safe here? I mean, business can't stop.
Right. Someday we'll have a finance director, two of us that could, do this role. Obviously, we'll have that person signing off on the invoices as the last check, but, with their signature on the checks, but, from a standpoint of, the person who's doing the checks now, I'm very fortunate that I was able to hire that person permanently into another role, who's now training the new person. So I have a little bit of backup there on filling out the forms, making sure they comply with ARPA, doing that. A backup. So, well, we could go back to UHA, but what he's speaking to is, the finance director being that sign off at the end. We'd have to come up with a replacement. I don't have a backup for that.
Yeah, I mean, so Ken, when UHY's contract went in front of the MARB, their scope of work was not approving every invoice, it was to look at them every quarter, or?
I just read the contract recently, so their contract, which was, I think, prior to MARB, believe it or not, did not include reviewing every invoice. They were to act as consultants to help us through the compliance of the ARPA regulations, and that included the filling out of the quarterly treasury report. That was their role. And we leaned on them very heavy in the beginning.
And on this checklist, so there's work inspected by, that's one person,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Invoice approved by is another person?
Correct.
And then on the bottom, it says completed by. Is that somebody else from the grants? It says reserve space for grants administration? Is that a third person? On page 12?
I think Dave will answer that in a minute, but one thing to point out there is you have, for the first time, someone signing their name to the process. We're not, in the past, you know, no one knew who approved it. Now you know exactly who's been involved in this checklist.
Yeah, Ron, that's for the grants department. Box 6 is if it's a grant payment. Not all boxes get checked in every project, so, I'm 1 and 2. My department takes care of boxes 1 and 2. And then if it goes through the grants department, then, 4, 5, and 6 will be handled by grants.
And then Ken, when you presented your process to the MARB, and they were very impressed with it.
Yes.
Was part of that process telling them that UHY approves every single invoice?
No, the focus, they came to my office to audit everything. The conversation right now talks about the actual invoice. Prior to the invoice even making it to the agenda, there's a whole nother process of going out, inspecting the job, comparing it to the contract. And a lot of times, not a lot of times, but many times, the invoice gets rejected. Doesn't even make it to the ARPA, I'm sorry, because the visual inspection failed. What we showed Whittlesey was how every single project went out to bid. Every single project had a contract. Every invoice had a PO. And that's where we scored very high. There was no mention of UHY looking at invoices. And they certainly looked at jobs that were completed and asked for backup on those, and those also passed the test that they were done properly. So,
But UHY will put their eyes on them on a quarterly basis as opposed to in real time.
not the ones before December they didn't.
So, yes, because they helped us with the quarterly report.
Right, yeah,
So
the
they-
quarterly report, yes.
For the quarterly report, which is what he was talking about. quarterly.
So they'll see the invoices, just maybe not in real time.
Not-
Correct.
It's
100%.
And they'll tell us before an invoice is even created that the use of the money is an appropriate use of ARPA funds. So they'll let us know that we can use it for that project, and then afterwards they will check our work on the invoices on quarterly report.
And there's no vouchers. There's no such thing as vouchers anymore, right? There's no way to go around the process because it's a super emergency or.
There's no way.
And we don't have any situations like that with ARPA funds.
We don't allow it. It's just not allowed.
Thank you.
That,
all set?
I had one more question. During the quarterly report, does UHY have the right to kick an invoice out saying you can't use ARPA money for this?
They do, but it's never happened because by the time it reaches that point, they were part of the contract. So it'd be unusual, but the answer is yes. They have kicked them out because, perhaps the unique identity number didn't pop up correctly, small things, but they do kick them out because of that, and they'll be corrected.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. There's a motion on the floor. Anybody second it?
Yeah, Galignano did.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed.
Thank you.
So we had opposed was Quag and Johnstone. Did anybody abstain?
No. Anybody abstain? No. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, page 17. So you may have heard, but Representative Bohr was able to fund a $740,000 ARPA spend at the Johnson Community Center. That means that $740,000 that you previously allocated for the Johnson Community Center comes back to the City Council. That being said, you have about $3.8 million in unallocated funds right now. The $2 million that we're requesting to help the city with their internal fund is not gonna take away from another job. We're not asking you to eliminate another job, we're asking you to take these unallocated funds, help the city out with this deficit, which Dave can speak to better than I can, and allocate the 2 million to do that.
Moving on anyway, second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Oh, wait, I thought we all agreed.
Well, we have a.
Do we want tax dollars to go up?
Any questions?
Wait.
Yeah, I got it. Go. Go ahead, Mitch.
Mr. Taylor, do we have a,
Where's that resolution?
just 2 millions for workman's comp, am I correct?
That's correct.
So, and that is for what fiscal year?
So it'll happen in 24, because we are in 24 today.
So it's not going backwards?
You know,
it's
we
going-
can-
I know you, well,
Well,
you never know.
We can try,
So,
but I would
can
love
you-
to have a council
Can you
resolution.
tell me
14.
what kind of safety program we have in the city? And do we have a safety committee that the city has that meets on a regular basis to avoid, maybe some kind of safety program where people are taught how to lift things, maybe wear gloves instead of bare hands, something to that effect. Do we have any kind of program like that?
So yes, is it robust and functioning at the level that you would like it to, and I would like to, I would say no. But there is a safety committee. There are diverse members of that committee. Mr. Boris is a primary member of that committee. They do meet regularly. What I perceive as missing is a lot of the programs and training that you're talking about. And if you look in your packet, in fact, it's a long, it's after all those numbers. We're supporting from risk management, I'm trying to find the page number, sorry. Sorry? Thank you. Page 4, starting on.
Yeah, I got it.
On page 43, you can see a list that was pulled together of items that we believe should be a part of in fact, well, we stole it shamelessly from what everybody thinks it ought to be. But anyway, these are the goals that we're trying to achieve. And then also included in your packet, PMA, who is our broker, we're paying for, they say it comes free, but, you know how that works, nothing. But they are listed here as, I think, a wonderful list, a good start of things that we could implement, programs, initiatives. I was talking to the risk manager, we have our full-time, temporary risk manager that's currently employed, knows all about these things. He's working very closely with the safety committees, he's been to see the chief, and others, different departments, about starting to raise the bar, if you will. And he and I were talking just the other day, how do we incentivize people? Because, where's the sign that says
How many days?
360
Yes,
days without a lost
yes.
time accident?
I like those.
And so we were talking about those
You
things.
incentivize them by paying them every week. You don't have to pay them any extra to be safe. You wanna come to work safe and go home safe. I don't think you need extra incentive to do that.
Yeah, I
So
agree, but you need to train them how to be safe.
I totally agree. So that's a culture change, right? Cause
Yeah.
I'm sure I could go see somebody lift something up and they're probably lifting
Probably
from
doing
the
it wrong.
waist up, right?
I'll be doing it.
There's no doubt. So
Try not to step in holes, things like that.
I totally get that. So where I work, we have, when somebody comes on that's brand new, they're not allowed to go to work until they go through our whole safety program.
There you go.
So we do it's probably 2 days of going through training before they can even go out and do what we do. Cause what I do is, not what I do personally, but what my job does is heavy lifting. So, and we have that same issue where
Sure.
everybody gets hurt, right?
Sure.
Or some to that effect. We actually have these special gloves that are called cut-proof gloves that everybody needs to wear when they're lifting things. So that's why listen, I'm not against giving the city $2 million. I want to make sure that we don't get into this problem again because it is a culture problem and it's probably not just here, it's all over, that we just wanna correct that cultural
Yeah,
problem.
and-
And it's probably gonna take years for that to even,
So I just want to assure you that you and I are on the same wavelength on this, and we are attempting to make this change. And we are trying to work with the existing structures that are there. And it seemed like the safety committee was very much into making these changes and are looking to implement it across the board. You know, like you said, it's going to take a while to really change culture, but to your point, you want to come to work safe, you want to work safe, and you want to go home safe.
and that's what we
There's-
say, you wanna.
Everybody wants to do that.
Well, I would like to think everybody wants to.
Well, I think so.
I'm
So that
good.
was one of the questions that was brought up last time, and that was that's why we put so much in here about it.
Right. So, one more thing, I'm
Sure.
sorry. Does that safety committee meet once a month, once a quarter?
Mr. Boris?
Once every quarter, every 3 months, we meet. But the good thing is now that we have a new risk manager, we're actually reaching out to the police department, fire department. We want everybody to be there because I guess in the past, a lot of people haven't taken the safety committee serious. But with the new risk manager, he's really motivated, and he's out there really working with the people. So part of management and part of union working together, I think that this is where we're starting to move better now, starting this year. So
Who was that with?
Christopher, what's his last name?
Tiberio, Tiberio. He's a Robert Half contract employee.
And he's your risk manager?
He's been a risk manager for decades.
So he must be, he would be somebody good for my job too, but, thank you.
You done?
Thank
Good, I thought I was gonna take out a nap.
Thank you for your questions.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for pulling all this together, because I remember the conversation from last time, we talked about, this is a lengthy list of,
Oh, yeah.
people with injuries, and we're now.
Yeah,
is the
oh, right.
fund,
Yeah, it's in front of you now, yeah.
The workers' comp, budget that's, I guess, underfunded.
It's underfunded,
Right?
correct.
And the goal, I guess, is to really prevent this from happening again, so I guess that's the question, it's like, these are all nice to have, and I guess there's a risk manager in place, but what do you have to do to hardwire this, to make this, like, what are the steps that have to be put into place so that we can prevent this, scenario?
The funding or the
No, I'm talking about
injury?
The injuries,
Yeah.
because that's what's causing you to need the funding.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry, but I can't really answer that so far as what are the steps. I think we are following, here's what I think, and I never had to implement this for anywhere. So, number one, find out what should be done by looking at what other successful businesses are doing. And that's what we're doing. Get somebody who's motivated and, in fact, that was part of his interview process. This is what we need. and he's done it before, to get, involved, find out the different, committees, people that are important to make something work and move through the organization. So we've identified the safety groups, we've identified fire department, police department as major groups that we need to make sure we're involved in. And then get qualified people to come in and train. And that's where PMA comes in, with all their staff being able to come in and train and put in place safety programs. Use already developed videos, whatever, get them modified to your circumstance where necessary. But this is just off the top of my head, okay? So, I've never had to implement something like this.
Well, I guess the question that I'm asking also is associated with the cost of doing
Yes.
that. There must be a cost that's associated with
I
this.
think that if we customize some things and go there would be a cost. These things that are in the brochure that's in front of you are part of our cost already. We just have not been taking advantage of them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Bruno?
Yeah, so Dave, you and I had a pretty in-depth conversation last go around.
Mhm.
So if we don't
move the ARPA funds, you're saying the only way out of this $2 million problem you got is to raise taxes?
No, is to find money somewhere else.
Okay.
One way is to raise taxes. I put some thought into that.
Okay.
Because I knew, okay, let's put our hat on and just come up with, okay, what are some ideas? And I've got a few. If you'd like, I can walk through those. I was hoping you'd ask that question. The current 5-year plan intends to fund completely in 15 years. I'm not happy with that goal. I would be much happier with a 5-year plan to do that. I think it's a more appropriate plan to have it funded in 5 years. So there's a few things. So what we've done then, right now, is we're starting to increase our safety efforts to reduce claims.
Which is a great idea, because
Yes.
there's,
Secondly, there is increased funding in the 5-year plan. So that's already intended to chip away. Thirdly, we did something the other week, was review our year-end surplus and make decisions about where that surplus could do the best work. In general fund, which we all want to get to, if I can keep it around 5 to 8% of total revenues, we can start to get away from the mark, okay? Frankly, that's the way it works. It's also a good practice to have that stuff tucked away. If we didn't have money tucked away at water pollution, for example, we could have never said, okay, take $1.5 million and pay for Chestnut Street, okay? So these things happen. So we need to continue to do that, and I will try to I'll continue to push for that. So additional ideas, and we just talked about one, can we incentivize city teams to be good at safety? You know, days without a lost time accident. Key rings, I don't know, something, hats, something that would say, hey, we work safe in our
but
area.
now there's a risk management, there's a risk manager, if you would, that's gonna be following up on these workman comp claims and
Absolutely.
public works and whatnot,
Absolutely.
that we didn't have before.
We did have a risk manager there. That person did not choose to pursue the safety programs and whatnot, but they were involved in the workers' comp claim reviews. I had other couple ideas. Obviously, if you increase revenues or decrease costs, you can do things with that. We budget some funding flat in our 5-year plan, including the state funding. This body could choose to earmark any state funding that comes in above the 5-year plan level for the internal service funds. Just as an idea. Another idea, we've been very fortunate with our investment income, and I tend to be pretty conservative on how I budget for that. And in fact, I think we might actually do better this year than I thought, which is great. We could also say, hey, let's take that money and put it in our internal service fund. Can we decrease expenses? Well, right before you today is a way to decrease the expenses involved in funding the ISF, and that is to use some ARPA money. And then also we tend to budget more contingency than we spend. We sort of keep a balance there. Some of that's timing, but be that as it may, we could also use that to fund in coming years. So
Thank
just a
you,
few
Dave.
ideas I decided to sketch out so that I could
Thank
share
you.
those with you.
Sure.
You're welcome.
He actually, Mr. Taylor answered my question, so.
I got one thing. Dave, when I was in charge of whatever, I was in charge of, the insurance company that I had at the time always offered safety programs for ZIP because we paid a premium.
That's
They
what this
sent
is.
us, they sent us videos, they sent us people to come down.
Right.
And of course, in our department, OSHA was on our back all the time, so we had to be careful on everything that we did. So, I mean, safety equipment, safety, classes and everything would be the best thing to do for the city employees to straighten this out.
I agree.
Anybody else got any? Like,
So Dave, so we're really front loading what was gonna be spread out over a number of years, right, in the 5-year
We're
plan?
helping it, yes.
So ideally, if it was spread out it would increase the opportunity. It would be likely more of a percentage of a mill rate increase as we spread it out, as opposed to us front-loading it with surplus funds and ARPA funds, right?
There'd be less pressure on us to do those kinds of things, yes.
It's one less thing that we have to worry about, or at least not to the magnitude that we thought we would have.
That is the intention.
Yeah. Listen, I want to just say thank you. So I've been here too long. I've been here 9 years, right? And I've seen a lot of finance directors come and a lot of finance directors go. And I think you're one of the, if not the only individual that really is thoughtful and takes the time to listen to what we say. And based on the interactions we had last meeting, you came here prepared with a half a dozen ideas on how we could probably get to the place we need to get to. It's not your idea or it's not our idea. It's up for discussion and it's collaborative. And I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So we have a motion, could we just repeat who did that motion or made that motion and seconded it? And you, and then we had a second by Tucker, okay.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes majority.
Unanimously.
Unanimously, I'm sorry. I almost said no.
Oh, he's back.
Didn't mean to scare you.
We're on the last page.
Oh, I gotta read the resolution?
I think, yep. Resolutions
I'll read 'em
53
later.
and 54.
Can we read them later?
Yeah.
52.
Do you want me to just read it?
Yeah,
I'll read it.
read it
Okay,
again.
resolved that the city council hereby appropriates funding for the following projects. Funding the internal service fund. $2 million is appropriated for funding of the West Haven Internal Service Fund. Period.
Period.
Yeah, that's all they wrote.
That's all you got, Ken?
That's all I got for you tonight.
Thank you, Ken.
was
I
great
don't
seeing
wanna,
everyone.
I just want you to, oh, okay. I just want you to know that we need that field ready by the 20th. That's our
I'm gonna
home
make it happen.
opener against
I'm
North
gonna-
Haven. It's vital.
It'll be our
It's
first
homecoming.
victory on our field.
We are gonna, it's really you should come to a game, I'll get you on the field, you can watch from the sidelines, Mr. Taylor. You do. Thank you, though, I'm excited.
Me too.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was brought to, a concern from a constituent tonight about Washington School and the delay. Is
Yeah.
there, and what
Do we
is
talk
the
about that
delay?
tonight for a minute? Are we allowed to, or?
It's not under ARPA.
It's not under ARPA?
No, Washington School's
No.
not.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could do it under,
New business.
new business.
Ken is like, I'm not gonna be here.
Chairman, I gotta,
Can you send us an update on it?
Yeah,
I will.
yeah, if you can do that, then thank you.
You could take a
Yeah.
2-minute recess, I could tell you too.
We could, but we won't.
Okay, all right.
Ken, where are we at with, flood remediation throughout the city?
Meetings coming in next Thursday. I'll send an email out to the council on that. Whoever wants to attend can meet the engineers, meet Abdul, meet the contractor. We had engineers yesterday going to various sites in the city, doing test pits and things like that, getting ready for bidding, some, areas that have flooded to rectify that. And we got the CDM Smith report, which is the first comprehensive all-in-one report for the entire city, which will not only allow us to fix the flooding issues, but opens the door to grant money, because the grant people want to see this report before they give you federal or state money. So we
Okay,
feel
thank
good
you.
about that.
Thank you.
Anything down on the bridges? Oh, I'm sorry, the flooding with the flood.
It's in the,
Trying to,
in the report, yeah.
in the, oh, great, okay.
Anything else?
Set.
I'm gonna email to you, I think it's Thursday at 2, and it's at my office, but I'll send
This
you an
week?
email. Yeah, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay,
So that is,
now over at, what's he got?
Don't worry about it.
9:12. All right, now we're going to public lands. Councilman Donovan.
Thank you, Chairman. I will get there in a minute. Time is 9:12. The Committee on Public Lands is now in session. We have, members are present are Councilman Quagliani, Councilwoman O'Connor, Councilwoman Hamilton, Councilman Bruno, and myself acting as chair. The only update we have here is Communication D from September 25th. We are holding that. We need some more information on that before we move forward on that. Communication I has been withdrawn.
Communication
Thank
I.
you. I, yeah, it's on here, on the agenda.
Oh,
That's been withdrawn.
okay.
That-
Gotcha.
And Communication B, we're still in the process of that, so. With that, the Committee on Public Lands is now closed at
9:13.
9:13.
Thank you, Councilman Donovan. And now we will go to Personnel and Civil Service, Councilman Quagliani.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The time is 9:13. Your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service is now in session. Members present are Councilman Bruno, Councilwoman O'Connor, Councilwoman Hamilton, Councilwoman Hosky, and myself acting as chair. Before us is Communication B from Mayor Nancy R. Rossi regarding appointment of Rosa Richardson, 95 West Prospect Street, West Haven, to the Board of Education. Ms. Richardson's appointment replaces Jennifer Flood and will become effective immediately and expire on 12/7/2025. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Councilwoman Hosky.
I am a huge fan of Rosa, and if I, in my lifetime, can touch the lives as many children as she has touched, I will have known I've done a good job. She is an asset to this community. She has been missed on the Board of Ed, and I am thrilled that we and the city and her students have the opportunity to bring her back. She is a gem, and I am excited. She is a blessing, so I am a yes.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hosky. Any other discussion? Councilwoman O'Connor?
I wanna second everything that, Councilwoman Hosky said, and just add that Rosa is always there for the kids. She doesn't miss a meeting, she goes to extra meetings, she helps out with everything. I can't think of a better choice in all of West Haven than Rosa.
Thank you, Councilwoman O'Connor. Any other discussion in the committee? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Communication C from Mayor Nancy R. Ross regarding the appointment of Carol Soder, 45 Third Avenue Extension, to the Flood and Erosion Control Board. Ms. Soder's appointment replaced Charles Gunning and become effective immediately and expire on 11/24/25. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Hosky, second by Councilwoman O'Connor. Any discussion? Councilwoman Hamilton.
So I know Carol, she is a family friend, and I think that she'll do very well on this board, so I recommend her.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hamilton. Any other discussion in the committee? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? And that motion carries. And Mr. Chairman, your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service is concluded at 9:16.
Thank you, Councilman Quagliani. Okay, we're going to unfinished business. Anything? And we're going to go to community reports, and the clerk will read the Communication A into the report.
Communication A from the tax collector regarding overpayment refunds for October 2023, which will be filed with tonight's minutes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, I got a question for the whole council. Do you want to bring back the brewery people, or you want to finish this and then bring them?
Finish this and bring them at the
Yeah,
end.
they're not.
All agree? Okay.
Keep it
Let's go
moving.
to Finance Committee. Councilwoman Hosky.
Communication D was withdrawn, communication C is being held, communication E to the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Finance, to whom was referred the matter of the proposed employment agreement for Police Chief Joseph Perno, reports that the committee met on the 10th day of October 2023 to consider said matter. It is unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Authorizing resolution, City of West Haven City Council, whereas the City of West Haven Police Commission resolved to offer Chief Perno an employment agreement with a 5-year term, and whereas the City Council of the City of West Haven is required to approve employment agreements for staff in excess of 3-year term, whereas the mayor and her administration have executive duties for administering contractual relationships, resolved the proposed employment of Chief Perno attached here to is approved, and the mayor or her designee is authorized to execute a final agreement. Further resolved that Nancy R. Rossi, as mayor of the City of West Haven, is authorized and directed to execute and deliver any and all documents related to this resolution on behalf of the City of West Haven, and to do and perform all acts and things which she deems to be necessary or appropriate to carry out the term of such documents, including but not limited to executing and delivering all agreements and documents contemplated by such documents. It's a crazy sentence.
Councilman Hosky brought forward to approve communication E as read into the record. Do I hear a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
And that is all, Chairman, for Finance Committee.
Thank you, Councilman Hosky. And now we'll go to Public Lands. Councilman Donovan.
Thank you, Chairman. The time is 9:19, and communication D is being held. Communication I has been withdrawn, and communication B, we will finish communication B in executive session later.
Okay. Thank you,
That's all I have.
Councilman Donovan. Now we will go to Personnel and Civil Service. Councilman Quagliani.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Communication B from tonight's agenda to the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service. To whom was referred the matter of the appointment of Rosa Richardson, 95 West Prospect Street, West Haven, to the Board of Education. Reports to the committee met on the 10th day of October 2023 to consider said matter. It is unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolved, the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves the appointment of Rosa Richardson, 95 West Prospect Street, West Haven, to the Board of Education. Ms. Richardson's appointment replaces Jennifer Flood and would become effective immediately and expire on Jennifer Frost, and expire on December 7th, 2025.
Councilman Quagliani has brought forward communication B as read into the record. Do I hear a second? Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've known Rosa Richardson for many, many decades, and probably too many that her and I would like to talk about. She has absolutely been here for the children from day one, since I knew her, and I think she'd be a great asset, again, back in BOE, so I am 100% for this. Thank you.
Welcome. I also have something to say. I've known Rosa when she was very young. I knew the whole family. Very, very nice family. She's very nice, very close to my brother's family, and she's an outstanding person. She was outstanding to my nieces and everything during the time when they were young, and I think she's an excellent person for this job. Anybody else?
Again, I want to concur with you guys. Rosa Richardson is awesome for the kids, and since the time I know her, she's always been there for kids. So I think this is such a great opportunity for the kids to have her there again.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Communication C to the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, Committee on Personnel and Civil Service, who was referred the matter of the appointment of Carol Soder, 45 3rd Avenue Extension, to the Flood and Erosion Control Board. Reports that the committee met on the 10th day of October 2023 to consider said matter. It is unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolved, the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves the appointment of Carol Soder, 45 3rd Avenue Extension, West Haven, to the Flood and Erosion Control Board. Ms. Soder's appointment replaces Charles Gunning, and will become effective immediately and expire on November 24th, 2025.
Councilman Mikeline has brought forward Communication C and read into the record. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. You done?
Hold on.
Oh, okay. Adoption of ordinances is in previous, anything? Council liaison reports, any? Oh, yes.
Head librarian Colleen Bailey is healing fine. She just started back to work for a couple of hours a week, but anyone who's had shoulder surgery knows it's not a fun thing. But you could still send her a get well card if you choose.
Thank you. New business?
Oh, I just, what were we doing before that?
Council liaison?
Oh, no. New business, yes.
New business.
Okay, I just want to remind the council that, Johnny Z's ceremony and the hanging of his, corner sign, street sign is, October 21st at, Z's Corner Caf. And I'm going to plug this. West Haven High School, their field is going to be completed by the 19th. October 20th is homecoming. The West Haven High School football team is undefeated, and they're going to be playing against North Haven, who were state champs last year. So it's going to be a highly competitive game. And my understanding is they have a fantastic cheer team as well. So if you're looking for something to do, come out and, it's Ken Strong Stadium is gonna be, reopening that night, so it should be a good time.
Anybody?
I just wanna say that, I had a meeting with the Parks and Recs Committee. I wanted to see if I could put a purple pantry box on the Shingle Hill Park, because it's between, McCrill and, Bailey. I wanna thank Stacy, she's been a great help. She guided me a lot, and just in case it does ever come to the council, I think it's a great spot because it's something that I'm willing to pay for everything, to have it, create the box, put the box in, maintain it, get people who wants to donate canned foods. But, the committee liked it, but there's some issues that they wanna check first. But I just wanted to let the council know that I think it's a great spot for, the pantry boxes between two schools where a lot of parents, they're not gonna go to the school and ask for money for dinner, or, there's a lot of need for kids that go hungry, so I'm just hoping that if it does come to the council, that you guys could, help me with this. But thank you. That's it.
Anybody else?
Thank you so much.
Okay. Motion to recess. Can I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. He did it. I'll do it.
Alright, yeah. Yeah, we're not doing that.
We're not doing it the way you did it. I'll do it. Yeah, we're in executive session.
Not a recess, hold on, we're not there yet. But we're not there yet, we're not there yet. We've made a motion to come out of recess at 9:32. That was done by Quagliani, seconded by Hosky. And now we're going to make a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go into executive session. Holy smokes. Referring to communication I from the August 23rd,
No.
I'm sorry, communication B from August 28, 2023, agenda from Mayor Rossi regarding the tentative lease agreement between the city of West Haven and Nebco Brewery on 6 Rock Street in West Haven, Connecticut. Do I hear a second? All in favor? Okay, did it legally now.
Now it's official, 9:33.
10:09.
Bye.
Councilwoman Hosky.
And Robin Hamilton seconded.
I might have.
Ready?
Thank you.
And we're back in session at 10:11, and we're gonna turn over to public lands. To it, Gary.
Thank you, Chairman. Time is now 10:12. Public Lands is now in session. Communications B, we are holding. And that concludes Public Lands Committee at 10:12.
Motion on the floor.
Adjourn?
Oh. I already, yeah, a special meeting will be made, October 17th at 6 at the West Haven High School in the auditorium. Presentation from NEBCO on the, in public session.
At 6 o'clock.
At 6 o'clock. Read the paper, it's already in the paper.
Do we get to take these home, or do we have to give them back, because
No.
it was executive session?
Take it home.
It wasn't a
Well-
executive session. It was out here before.
It's not yet.
But they were
It's
used
no
for
longer
executive session.
All in favor, don't move.
Yes, sir.